Hello and welcome tonight. Fireworks on display as property owners take on Minister of Works Dave Umahi at the stakeholders engagement meeting over the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Candidates of the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party squared out at the Ondo governorship debate organized by Channels Television and its partners. River State Governor Simonalayi Fubara says the crisis in the state boils down to the control of the state resources. And angry crowds throw mud at the Spanish king in flood-hit Valencia. The National Assembly Joint Committee on Works and the Federal Ministry of Works today convened a crucial stakeholders engagement meeting in Lagos on the ongoing Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, a key initiative aimed at bolstering connectivity and stimulating economic growth across the southern region of the country. Discussions at the meeting focused on the project's progress, challenges, and collaborative strategies to ensure its successful completion. However, emotions flared up over explanations on the diversion of the expressway at the Okwaja corridor, prompting the minister ordered security personnel to remove a resident from the hall.
Offices that in the next 5 minutes this program.
The hall is filled to capacity with homeowners, National Assembly members, officials of the Federal Ministry of Works and other stakeholders. They're here to discuss the ongoing construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway.
Committed to deliver this project on time. And
the meeting begins with a brief presentation of progress on the project so far, including the environmental and social impact assessment, as well as review of the alignment of sections 1 and 2 of the highway.
Here we are at more or less kilometer 8 and we are moving forward. So those are the already established areas and we are continuing.
The main object is to follow the coastline as much as possible.
After the briefings, the floor opens for stakeholders to articulate their grievances. And then the fireworks begin.
I said, take all the estate, but give me 3 acres out of 11 acres. And they are not giving me. Madam, and that was all my husband worked for. Madam, all our estates gone. 3 estates gone because of some lawbreakers. What are your technical reasons of avoiding the gazetted route?
We can't go by the coastline for overriding public interest. We can't destroy the African, distant network. We cannot destroy the MTN, line. We have no interest than this. And it's the duty of Mr. President to protect the strategic infrastructure of the federal government. For the madam that said, I came to the point, I said they should do this. I can't remember, but I will be willing to come back to go the particular point to see what she's saying. Because if I was ever there, and technically I say, put up, this 2 meter or 1 meter, there must be reason for it. But the diversion is irrevocable. I'm sorry about that. Because the importance of people's land there, even undeveloped, this madam's land is totally undeveloped.
Not satisfied, one of the landowners challenges the minister's actions. This prompts the minister to request security assistance as the situation escalates.
We are following the law. You can go to court if we infringe on your rights. But please don't take law into your hand. Stop organizing protests. Stop organizing people to stop the work. Can you render our mic to us?
Engineer that is causing this. I cannot.
Security.
I can go out.
Move her out. Madam, give yourself respect.
In the end, members of the National Assembly intervene, urging all parties to engage in constructive dialogue rather than confrontation.
Most of you, if your wife is not from Yoruba, your wife is from Igbo, some of you. If your wife is not from there, is from Benin, or maybe from Port Harcourt, where I come from. So we are all one Nigerian. So don't tribalize this our good project.
The meeting concludes with a renewed call for stakeholders' cooperation as the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project progresses.
Members of the public that are here.
While the dramatic moments may have overshadowed some discussions, they underscored the deep-seated concerns of local communities that need to be addressed.
And distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
River State Governor Simonalayi Fubara has revealed that the current political crisis rocking the state is for the sole control of the state resources. Governor Fubara stated this while addressing the congregation at a Thanksgiving service in Mbodo, Alu near Port Harcourt on Sunday. Governor Fubara assured residents that his administration will continue to utilize the state resources judiciously for the betterment and overall interest of the people.
There is a reason for all this crisis, and that reason is the control of the resources of River State. River State resources belong to you, and we will make sure that that resources is applied judiciously for the betterment of River State. What you owe us is just one thing. Continue to pray for us. Let us not lose focus, because we know the devil is always at work to derail people in governance. Continue to pray for us so that we call what is most important, the interest of the people there. And I believe with your prayers, we will not lose focus. The purpose of governance will be achieved in our states.
The ruling All Progressives Congress in Cross River State has emerged victorious in all the 18 local government chairmanship positions and 196 consulship seats in Saturday's local government polls. The results were officially announced on Sunday at the State Independent Electoral Commission by the chairman, Dr. Ekong Boko. Immediately after the announcement, all the elected chairmen, comprising 15 men and 3 women, were presented with certificates of return. The Adamawa State Governor Umaru Fintiri has denied allegations of illegal deduction of funds by civil servants in the state. The governor was speaking in Yola, the state capital, when he received a delegation of stakeholders from the Oba community in Hong local government area. Governor Fintiri reiterated his commitment to supporting 60,000 women and youth in the state.
This is a gathering of stakeholders from Hoba community of Hong local government area of Adamawa State. The stakeholders include the Speaker of the Adamawa State House of Assembly, Bathia Wesley, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, immediate past Chief Judge of the State, Justice Nathan Musa, and some traditional leaders. The leader of the delegation, while commending the governor for his giant strides in the development of the state, however, has a request from the Hoba community.
Your Excellency, the Hoba community would like to place before you one humble request. Kindly consider and approve the upgrading and conferment of the proper status for the Hoba chiefdom, that is still Hoba.
Governor Fintiri acknowledges their request, promising to follow due process. He informs the gathering that the Fintiri Business Wallet Initiative will be rolled out in the month of December 2024 in order to create new opportunities and strengthen livelihoods across communities in the state.
Between now and December, because of the hardship and hunger, we intend to empower our women and youths through the Fintiri Business Wallet. Initially, our program was to take in 10,000 every quarter. But between November and December, we're taking in 60,000.
The governor takes advantage of the event to address concerns raised by civil servants as he refutes claims of illegal deductions, among other issues.
I will never steal from the civil servant, but whatever that is statutory in your salary and is being collected, it shouldn't be turned around into stories to bash this government. That this government paid 70,000 and collected 40,000. How can that be under my administration? If I can't give you more, I won't take from you. I'm referring to the civil servant.
The event climaxes with handing over of the letter of request and a display of traditional dances from the community.
As the Ondo state elections draw near, candidates of the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party have gone head-to-head on a debate organized by Channels Television and its partners in the state capital of Akure. The incumbent governor and candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa, and his People's Democratic Party counterpart, Agbola Ajayi, spoke on their plans to strengthen security in the state.
Is one of the major mandate of our government, because the primary mandate of any government is the security and the well-being of the people. And don't forget that we also bring up initiative that led to the creation of our homegrown security network called Amotekun, because we believe that the conventional security outfit at the time could not by themselves alone handle the kind of security challenges we're facing in those states. And that led to the creation of Amotekun. And since then, we have been working tirelessly to ensure that our people are safe. But after the attack, we have to restructure. Went back to the drawing board to restructure our security architecture to ensure that such incidents will never happen in those states. And since then, we have never experienced such. So I want to tell you that as of today, Ondo State is being regarded as one of the safest and peaceful states in Nigeria.
What the governor said that today, Ondo State has regarded as the safest state in the country is quite unfortunate. A state where Oba has been killed, a state where Obas were kidnapped, a state where the late daughter of Pastor was killed, and as a matter of fact, the most embarrassing thing that the Olufo of Ifon was killed gruesomely by an unknown person. Up to this moment, no single person was arrested. Yes, he was. He's a governor of Ondo State now. We do respect to him, but he was not part of those of us that actually established Amotekun. I was the deputy governor. As a matter of fact, I was actually encouraged and lobbied the legislators before the law was the edit was passed into law, and we have a target, and we just have to strengthen it. My plan is once I'm governor, I'm going to strengthen the existing Amotekun by creating a unit that will be called Forest Guard, where we'll be equipped with a modern gadget that if anything happens, within the next 3 minutes, it will be known to everywhere. And as a matter of fact, our farmers can go to farm and farm freely. Our Obas can travel. Everybody will be free. So as it is today, is bad, and we are going to strengthen the existing Amotekun by creating a unit in that place.
The candidates also spoke on their plans for the state to improve its economy.
I was a former council chairman. I know the meaning of local government administration. When I was council chairman, I constructed roads worth 500 million as of 2006-07. So for them, if I'm council, if I'm governor of Ondo State, I am not going to encourage local government ministry in my government. It's criminal erosion of fortunes. They should allow local government to breathe and do their government on their own.
Since I came on board, we have not borrowed, and we don't have the need to borrow for now. Now, that is that. And don't forget also, since removal of subsidy, the state governments are earning more from the proceed that is being distributed through the allocation. For the minimum wage, it's a law. It's a negotiation between the federal government and the labor leaders and the private sector. And we just have to implement it. Even though the baseline was 70,000, but we can afford 73,000 for our workers. And that is what we have done. So, and if we are to continue in that, we need to grow our IGR. Before now, we don't even touch local government money. We only receive based on the constitutional provision of joint allocations account. We don't touch their money. The money comes in because they are subsidiary of the state. We receive on their behalf, and Ministry of Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs send the money back to the various local government for their use.
In part two, after the break, presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga says President Bola Tinubu will swear in 7 new ministers on Monday. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. A reminder of our main stories. Fireworks on display as property owners take on Minister of Works Dave Umahi at the stakeholders engagement meeting over the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. Candidates of the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party square it out at the Ondo governorship debate organized by Channels Television and its partners. River State Governor Simonalayi Fubara says the crisis in the state boils down to the control of the state resources. And angry crowds throw mud at Spanish king in flood-hit Valencia. President Bola Tinubu will on Monday swear in the new 7 ministers recently cleared by the Senate. That's according to the Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, through a message posted on his X handle. The ministers are Dr. Nentawe Yilwata for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Muhammadu Dingyadi, Labor and Employment, Bianca Odumegu Ojukwu, Minister of State, Foreign Affairs. Others are Dr. Jumoke Uduwale, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Idi Mukhtar Meha, Minister of Livestock Development, Yusuf Atta, Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development, and Dr. Suwaiba Ahmed, Minister of State, Education. The senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has commissioned the newly renovated Abdulaziz Atta Memorial College in Okene local government area of the state. Now, she is commissioning the project as part of activities to mark her 1 year in office. Other projects commissioned by the lawmaker in Kogi State include a police station in Oke local government area and a solar-powered water system in a Boroke community in Adavi local government area.
Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, alongside some federal lawmakers, arrived at Abdulaziz Atta Memorial College in Okene local government area for the commissioning of some of the newly renovated projects in the school, including the students' hostels. The entourage is received by the school principal.
Your presence here today is an overt demonstration of your love and commitment to the school. And this singular feat will no doubt boost our morale and spur us to greater performance.
In her remarks, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan emphasized the need for education reform in the state.
As part of my promise, my campaign promises, I mentioned that educational reform was going to be at the core of our activities. And by the special grace of God, with the very support I got from my Senate President, His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, and of course the President of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they all deemed it fit to approve our very many requests.
Accompanied by the Senate Minority Whip and other federal lawmakers, the senator then commissions the school. Next is a donation of 5,000 computers to enhance ICT and digital learning for the students in the area.
Each secondary school student here in AMCO and many other schools around will have each of this. And like I said, they've all been programmed. All the programs with the basic applications that would make learning interesting.
Another project renovated and commissioned by the lawmaker is this police station in Okehi local government area.
This community has been without a police station for the past 7 years because it was burnt down, bombed, it was total destruction. And in the bid to secure the community, we decided to facilitate the reconstruction, rehabilitation, and of course expansion of this police station.
And service of humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The lawmaker also commissioned this solar-powered water system in Adavi local government area of the state. These projects were executed by the lawmaker to mark her first year in office.
Earlier this week, the National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS, released the 2023 report on internally generated revenue IGR. Now, this document contained vital information for development planning. But beyond the monthly federal allocations, how much do states generate to contribute to the overall growth and development of Nigeria? Tonight, Babajide Ogusawo, founder of Leadership by Data and Channels Television's data analyst, is here indeed to share more insight and the facts you should know. Babajide, great to have you again on the News at 10.
Good evening, Ayatunde.
So let's quickly get into it. So how much does this report, the 2023 NBS report on IGR, what does it really reveal on the state of IGR pertaining to all the states? Take for instance River State. Can it really rely solely on its IGR?
First is for Rivers, there's some good and some bad news. The good news is that if we look at this report, it tells us that River State generated more internally generated revenue than every other state except Lagos State. So when it comes to IGR, River State is up there. Good news. However, the bad news is when it comes to allocation from the federal government, River State as well collects more federal allocation than every other state except one state. And so within this report, it allows us to see that last year, for all of last year, 2023, federal allocation that goes to River State, I went to River State last year, over 300 billion naira. Over 300 billion naira. So we're looking at River State getting federal allocations of approximately 1 billion naira per day. So bad news if there are concerns if the state or its local governments will keep receiving money. Good news because we see River State up there compared to other states generating IGR. But beyond this, it's important to also take a look at the labor indicators in River State to really understand the challenges they face. We've seen the governor talking about the politics in River State is all about the resources,
state resources
of River State. And that might be correct, like I said, 319 billion naira just to the states last year. No other state got that sort of money apart from Delta State. So let's take a look at the labor indicators that allows us to know potentially what might happen if monies do not go into the state. We clearly understand from the National Bureau of Statistics that there are 145,000 public sector employees. However, the challenge is that that only represents 5% of the labor of those that have jobs in River State. So majority of workers in River State do not work for the government. The concerns, however, is that we have an excess of 4.5 million persons living in poverty. The state government needs funds to manage that. We also understand that we have those that should be in jobs, classified as job seekers, that not only don't have jobs, they're not in any educational or training program. Those sort of numbers, if the state is starved of funds, those numbers might go up. In simple terms, potentially crime numbers might go up if things are not properly managed in River State.
So how much is the rising inflation rate affecting governance, especially with the execution of projects, within the states?
So that's interesting because that allows us to see how much value is really being lost. If we take a look at only last year, we don't see the full picture. But I'd like us to take a look at inflation within this decade, talking about inflation since 2013 to date, because that really allows us to know how much value is being lost. So if we take a look at those inflation numbers, it clearly allows us to see, yes, inflation last year, 28.9%. However, look at the compound inflation rate since 2013. Compound inflation rate since 2013, 356%. The point I'm trying to make here, Ayotone, is that if within this 10-year period, states have not earned revenues, their revenue growth has not grown higher than 356%, then they are really losing value. So the question is, how many states have their internally generated revenue grown by as much as 356%? And as we discuss, as this conversation continues, I'll be able to share you the facts and why I'm worried.
Which brings me to the next question. Does the growth in IGR really mean that the states are really prosperous?
So there are several ways to look at that. But the first is that today I am worried. And there are three reasons why I'm worried. The first reason is looking at this internally generated revenue report and comparing it to what the same report of 2013, the Southwest in 2013 accounted for just 43% of all internally generated revenue. Now, the Southwest accounts for more than 50% of all internally generated revenue. In simple terms, internally generated revenue from only the Southwest is more than all the other 5 regions combined. The first reason why I'm worried. The second reason why I'm worried is the internally generated revenue of Lagos State last year is more than the internally generated revenue of 30 states combined. You heard me right. Internally generated revenue of Lagos State is more than the internally generated revenue of 30 other states combined. And the third and final reason why I'm worried is, let's take a look at the chart of the week, because it allows us to reflect on, is internally generated revenue really growing? Don't forget, I talked about 356% compound inflation rate in the last 10 years. So look at those numbers. In 2013, national internally generated revenue, 662 billion naira. We now have the report that shows 2.2 trillion naira. However, that isn't growth, because that shows a 235% growth nationally. However, inflation rate within the same period, 356%. So as a nation, 2013 was a much better year. Look across the regions, same thing. Southeast, IGR growth of 140%. However, compound inflation rate over 300%. South-South, same challenge. Northwest, same challenge. Southwest, same challenge, losing value. Only the Northeast has seen internally generated revenue within the 10-year period grow higher, go faster than inflation rate, and that is because within the 2013 year, their starting point was low, 21 billion naira, the lowest compared to all other regions. That was part of the challenges of Boko Haram. The Northeast was not getting much IGR. However, nationally, we've done worse. In the final analysis, the point is, my grandfather pointed me to the Bible passage, Matthew 25, if I'm right, chapter 14 to verse 30. The parable, the story of the parable of the talents. And we remember the story of the 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent, 5 talents multiplied, 2 talents multiplied, 1 talent hid his talent. If that man that had the 1 talent had a name, it will be called the Nigerian state. In simple terms, our state managers are losing value and the money isn't creating a lot of impact. It's illusion. It's just like this magic coin. It's all an illusion. The money is an illusion.
We'll leave it at that. Babajide Ogunzo, thank you for your analysis again on the News at 10.
The pleasure is all mine.
The Nigeria police has announced the arrest of 130 suspects comprising 113 Chinese and Malaysian nationals and their 17 Nigerian collaborators for their alleged involvement in high-level cybercrimes, hacking, and activities that threaten national security. A statement signed by the Force Public Relations Officer, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, says the operation was conducted through a coordinated raid on the building at the next cash and carry area of Jahi in Abuja, where the suspects were reportedly using computers and other sophisticated devices to facilitate criminal activities. The statement adds that the operation, which was led by the Assistant Inspector General of Police for Zone 7 Headquarters, Abuja, AIG Benneth Igwe, on Saturday, November the 2nd, comprised officers of the Nigeria Police, Zone 7 Command, Abuja, and the National Cybercrime Center. Now, the statement further adds that the suspects will be charged to court upon conclusion of investigations. Still ahead on the News at 10, angry crowds threw mud at Spanish king in flood-hit Valencia. Please join us again. Welcome back. The Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf has taken steps to secure the release of teenagers arrested during the End Bad Governance protest. The governor announced on his social media handle that he has directed the Commissioner of Justice to act immediately to secure their release. Governor Yusuf assured the public that his administration is committed to protecting the rights of young citizens, expressing determination to see the teenagers safely return to Kano. Meanwhile, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, is urging President Bola Tinubu to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, to ensure the immediate and unconditional release of all End Bad Governance protesters, including what SERAP describes as the 32 hungry and malnourished children. In an open letter signed by the organization's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, Serap says bringing charges against children and detaining them simply for the peaceful exercise of their human rights is clearly not acting in the best interests of the child. Serap also wants the Justice Minister and appropriate law enforcement agencies to promptly investigate the circumstances surrounding the grave violations of the human rights of the children and other protesters in detention, and to identify and bring to justice those responsible and ensure justice and remedies for the victims. Governor of Bayelsa State, Doye Diri, has emphasized the state's enduring gratitude to God during the celebration of the 13th anniversary of the state's creation, which took place at the Ecumenical Center in Yenagoa, the state capital. The Thanksgiving celebration, observed every November the 2nd, was established in 2012 under former Governor Siraki Dixon and is enshrined in Bayelsa's laws as a day of remembrance and gratitude.
Among the congregants are the wife of former President Goodluck Jonathan, Dame Patience Jonathan, former Governor Senator Seriaki Dixon, and former military administrator of Bayelsa State, Colonel Edo Obi retired, and Navy Captain Caleb Olubolade retired, along with other esteemed dignitaries. No matter if you are a lion of Judah, delivering the sermon, Apostle David Ziliagri, General Overseer of the Royal House of Grace, thanked God for using former head of state, General Sani Abacha, to establish Bayelsa, calling it a pivotal moment that laid the foundation for the state's development and the well-being of its people.
We are thanking God for the miraculous creation of a state called Bayelsa. We may have not celebrated that man called Sani Abacha. We don't care what anybody says about that man because nobody is perfect in this world. But we, the Izon people, the Bayelsans, we appreciate General Sani Abacha for creating Bayelsa State, without which there will be no Doye Diri as a governor today. So our thanksgiving also go to God for the creation of this state.
Reflecting on this year's significance, Governor Doye Diri expressed appreciation for the divine favor that granted him and his deputy victory in both the recent governorship election and the subsequent legal proceedings.
My deputy governor, Senator Lawrence Erijakpo, and I went into an election last year, precisely on November 11th, and all of you Bayelsans stood by us. Everybody, including the high, the mighty, and the low, everybody stood by us. And so God gave us victory. God gave us victory.
This year's Thanksgiving brought Bayelsans together in unity, reflecting on the state's journey and God's enduring role in its progress and prosperity. Deborah Timiwood, Channels Television News.
The wife of Anambra State Governor, Mrs. Nonye Soludo, has launched the Healthy Living Garden program and the weekly physical exercise in the 21 local government areas of the state as part of her pet project, Healthy Living with Nonye Soludo. Flagging off the exercise at the Demili North Local Government Secretariat, Ogidi, Mrs. Soludo disclosed that the two initiatives target improved health and organic nutritional lifestyle, where the Healthy Living Garden will ensure constant availability of organic and fresh food.
The Demili North Local Government Headquarters Ogidi is a beehive of activities as people from the 21 local government areas welcome the wife of the governor, Mrs. Nonye Soludo, for the dual flag-off event targeted at improving the health and nutritional well-being of the people of Anambra State. The choice of Idemili North as the official kickoff point is to leverage its numerical strength and massive population for effective broadcast of the initiatives. The first on the list of programs for the day is the Red Cross demonstration of emergency management strategies, especially during loss of consciousness or blood pressure attack.
You turn the person towards you.
Welcoming the First Lady, the Mayor of Idemili North local government area expresses delight at the two programs, which he says will not only improve health but also empower the people.
Most of the things she is coming here to teach us today is something that will not just keep us healthy, but empower the women of Idemili North to learn to plant crops that are more of vegetables, so they'll begin to eat right.
Addressing the people, the wife of the governor notes that while the weekly Saturday exercise will ensure a healthy body and a sound mind for longevity, the Healthy Living Garden initiative will bring about availability of organic food all year round.
There are two things we want to launch in Idemili North today. The first one is exercise. We all know the importance of exercise. The next to be flagged off is healthy living with Noye Soludo Garden in Idemili North. It will be everywhere.
Next is the flag off and unveiling of the Healthy Living with Noye Soludo Garden and Farmers Market Initiative and the Saturday Healthy Living Workout Program. Mrs. Soludo wants every local government area in Anambra State to lead the initiative, which will eventually give birth to the farmers' markets in 21 local government areas of the state in 3 months' time.
This is a very good initiative because it cut across 326 community wards in Anambra State. And this, in addition to making eating healthy, this will also make the food available to people and at a very reduced cost and subsidized rate and no cost.
The cheapest price they can get it from. It will be coming straight from the farm, in a particular day fresh from the farm. So that's why we are. And the exercise is for people to be fit. Saturday, not only for the exercise, they will have time to come together, work out together, and at the same time interact as brothers and sisters after the exercise.
The Healthy Living Garden program is a community-based initiative where each local government area will be supported by the pet project of the First Lady, Healthy Living with Noye Soludo, to start up their own gardens within the vicinity of the council secretariat, to be manned by trained workers in the local government areas and supervised by the wives of the local government mayors.
All is now set for the commencement of the medical biomonitoring survey for residents in oil-impacted areas of Ogoniland, River State. This announcement was made by the coordinator of the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, Neni Barini Zambe, when he received members of the Senate Committee on Host Communities. The committee was on a visit to assess progress on environmental remediation and restoration efforts in communities affected by severe oil pollution. Our correspondent Deborah Agbalama reports.
In 2011, the United Nations Environmental Programme, UNEP, released a report on the environmental crisis in Ogoniland, where years of oil exploration had left the land severely contaminated. The UNEP report recommended comprehensive remediation efforts and the restoration of livelihoods in impacted communities. It also highlighted the need for health evaluations of residents for possible non-communicable diseases, including cancer. In 2017, the federal government established the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, to spearhead the implementation of these recommendations. HYPREP says it has over 130 active remediation and restoration projects currently ongoing. These recent developments have drawn attention from key government figures seeking first-hand information on progress. This week, the Senate Committee on Host Communities, Oil and Gas, led by Committee Chairman Senator Benson Agadaga, is on a 2-day oversight visit. The visit begins with site inspections in Ogale, remediation of soil and underground water sites in Eleme local government area of River State. They also inspect completed projects like the Ogo water scheme. the Boa Water Project, Cottage Hospital in Tai LGA, and their flagship projects like the Specialist Hospital in Tai and Center of Excellence and Environmental Research CIA in Kana LGA, after which they share their thoughts on what they have seen.
We're impressed about what you have seen. As an intervention body, we're happy that this thing is going to transform the Ogoniland, in fact, the Niger Delta and Nigeria at large.
Water has been a major issue, and I'm happy with the water schemes that I've seen. Especially, I've been informed that close to 10 kilometers of pipe water has been done to support a number of the neighboring villages. I think the general thing is that this thing should be extended and there should be massive support in terms of funding.
HYPREP's project coordinator, Professor Nene Berenice Abe, discloses plans to kick off the much-anticipated medical biomonitoring survey for oil-affected communities in Ogoni, adding that several of these structural projects are expected to be completed by November 2025.
This year, we have awarded contract for strengthening of 4 more hospitals, and we are about to start a comprehensive biomonitoring study of Ogoni population.
On day 2, the senators visit the ecosystem revitalization sites, including mangrove plantations and shoreline cleanup locations in Goi and Bomu. They also contributed to the local ecosystem by planting mangrove seedlings.
I'm so happy that life is coming back to Ogoniland. All the devastations, all the damages that are done to the ecosystem, both the flora and the fauna, are now being restored gradually.
We are not just doing revegetation. Revegetation means you are just planting trees to provide canopy in the area. But we are restoring the ecosystem.
The visit concludes with a roundtable meeting with some Ogoni stakeholders in Tai local government area, where the committee chairman and HYPREP coordinator engage with local leaders to exchange insights. Deborah Abalama, Channels Television News.
The richness, diversity, and capacity of Africans to tell stories using paint and brush were once again on display as Art Lab Gallery formally opened in Lagos. The ceremony, which featured an exhibition by Eni Brown tagged Africa's Splendor, was unveiled by special guests led by the chairman and CEO of the Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo.
The drums resonate with rhythms deeply rooted in culture and vibrant African heritage. Heralding the special guest and art enthusiast to the inauguration and formal opening of the Art Lab in Ikeja, GRA. At the heart of this celebration is a solo exhibition themed Africa's Splendor by Eni Brown, who is renowned as the Maverick King of watercolor.
On behalf of Shaw, my wife, and I'd like to declare this event open.
On hand to unveil the occasion is Dr. John Momo, chairman of the Channels Media Group, flanked by Vice Chairman Dr. Mrs. Shola Momo, as well as the Erelu of Lagos and Yeyu Odua of the Source, Dr. Abiola Dosumu. From concept to art lab, this journey reflects a multitude of realities shaped by many other great minds whose works grace the gallery walls. However, Eni Brown's passion for storytelling takes center stage today.
Adam and Eve have decided to have an exhibition of artworks, directing all the traffic back to Africa to enjoy the artwork of Africa, to see the origin of beautiful arts that you see in Rome, the works of Michelangelo and people like that, knowing that actually it came from here. So let us show them that we can actually go to the next level in the art and culture world. This is Africa's splendor. You know, look at this artwork. You
see the woman balancing her child. Look at the swagger. She's carrying the bread, she's answering the phone, but look at the swagger. So in spite of a difficult terrain, you can see the happiness. And this is proper women entrepreneur. In the past, the women on this job could educate their children. They could pay school fees. More difficult, almost impossible now. But they did it. And those are the things that I think Ini Brown puts on your table.
As guests marvel at the array of works, including The Bountiful Catch and over 40 other watercolor masterpieces, along with 10 acrylic oils on canvas and much more. Ini Brown shares insights into his techniques and inspiration.
It's all about projecting Africa in a very positive way. I don't like those works that project Africa some negative, pattern. I prefer to project Africa in a very positive way, and even my use of colors, I try to be very colorful.
For art enthusiasts, the opening of the Art Lab is a landmark shift in the Lagos art scene, showcasing a beautiful ambience and experiences that evoke delightful surprises for the eyes.
Welcome to Sports News. Lagos-based club side Ikorodu City have ended the 9-match unbeaten run of Rivers United in the Nigeria Premier Football League following a 2-0 win in the match day 10 clash played at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena. Ayomide Cole and Rivio Anyewere goals in the second half handed the hosts their third win of the season. Remo Stars have now displaced the pride of Rivers at the top after the Kenneth-based team beat Lobby Stars. Both teams are on 21 points, but Remo Stars enjoy superior goals scored. Heartland and Bendel Insurance produced away wins in match day 19, edging Abia Warriors and Sunshine in their respective games. Akwa United recorded their second win of the season with a 2-1 victory against Kwara United. Rangers International, Kano Pillars, El Kanemi, who are now the only unbeaten team this season, and Niger Tornadoes all enjoyed home wins. Moses Caicedo's strike denied Manchester United victory in their first English Premier League game since they sacked the Dutchman Erik ten Hag, that confirmed their worst ever start to a season in the EPL. Bruno Fernandes put United in front from the penalty spot 20 minutes from time at Old Trafford before Caicedo's quick reply made it 1-1 and took Chelsea into a fourth. Now, meanwhile, Dominic Solanke scored twice as Tottenham blitzed Aston Villa in the second half, winning 4-1 to move just 2 points behind their rivals for a top 4 finish in the Premier League. Britain's new Conservative leader, Kemi Badenoch, says her approach to the economy would be completely the opposite of that of Chancellor Rachel Reeves. On her first day of the job, she told BBC's Laura Kuenssberg some of her policy priorities will include reversing the VAT hike for private schools. She was also critical of her predecessor, Rishi Sunak's leadership, saying he had lost trust with voters because promises on immigration and on tax were not kept. And that is something that we need to change, according to her.
The best thing will be when we get to a point where
the new Conservative leader started her first day on the job with a major interview on the BBC.
And that is great, but we have to work.
She said the Conservatives got a lot of things wrong ahead of their historic election defeat, including on immigration and tax, but refused to give a post-mortem of her predecessors and claimed the Partygate scandal was overblown. She said she would reverse VAT hike on private schools because it's a tax on aspiration, but it won't raise any money and was therefore against our principles. Addressing the issue of skin color, she said the party has to get to a point where it is no more remarkable than the color of one's eyes.
We live in a multiracial country, and that is great, but we have to work very hard to make sure that it doesn't become something divisive, where people see themselves as being part of groups rather than all being British.
Some Londoners say she should be proud of and step forward with her blackness.
It will all depend on what she does. They are not more approachable
because of the fact that they've now got a black person, because to me it feels quite targeted and it feels very calculated that they now want us to be like, oh my gosh, black people, yay, we're gonna like the Conservative Party. I'm not ignorant and I'm not undereducated.
I don't think it's progress. I think it's them recognising the market, and they're trying to appeal to a wider audience. But I don't think it's something heartfelt or part of how they've changed.
Badenoch is no newcomer to politics. In 2012, she unsuccessfully contested a seat in the London Assembly, but was elected MP in 2015. A supporter of Brexit in the 2016 referendum, she was elected to the House of Commons in the 2017 general election. She was appointed Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Children and Families under the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and then in 2020, Exchequer Secretary to the Treasury and Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State for Equalities in 2021. She was promoted to Minister of State for Equalities and appointed Minister of State for Local Government, Faith and Communities. She resigned from government in protest at Johnson's leadership in July 2022, was appointed in September of the same year as Secretary of State for International Trade and President of the Board of Trade and to the Privy Council.
There we go.
In 2023, she assumed the position of Secretary of State for Business and Trade, and after the Conservatives' defeat in the 2024 general election, was appointed Shadow Secretary of State for Housing Communities and Local Governments in Sunak's shadow cabinet.
Okay, and when you're ready.
On Saturday, she won 57% of party members' votes in the final stage of a months-long contest that saw a field of 6 whittled down to 2, beating former Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, who won 43% of votes.
Thank you very much indeed.
In Spain, angry crowds have confronted Spanish King Felipe in Porta Valencia, a town affected by the floods. Now, the crowds threw mud at both the king and queen, many angry over the king's visit, saying it's coming days since the floods. In the meantime, local governments whose areas are still covered by orange warnings have been issuing alerts and advice to local residents throughout the day in predictions of further risk of flooding. A red alert has also been issued for parts of southern Valencia for the next few hours in anticipation that up to 90 millimeters of rain could fall in 1 hour. And the main news again. Fireworks were on display today as property owners took on the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, at the stakeholders engagement meeting over the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project. And that's news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. You have a good night.